Hello, my name is Jordan Stovall. I'm the Director of Outreach and Institutional Partnerships for the Dramatists Guild, and we are here this weekend at the Lift Every Voice Festival at the American Stage. And we love this stuff. It's all about meeting people where they are, finding ways to uplift stories, finding ways to tell stories in new ways and start new conversations. And we're here to talk to the playwright of Decolonizing Your Mind with Walter Mercado, Jayne Neely. Hi, Jayne.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi, how's it going?
It's great. Here we are in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's great. Yeah.
What have you been doing so far this weekend?
Just kind of enjoying the heat coming from the East Coast where it's winter. It's been like a nice little kind of semi-vacation. The car race thing, I'm clearly not. That was a little distracting yesterday, but it's been really lovely.
Yeah.
And just hanging out with the playwrights also, just like really fun.
Yeah, and you just did like a playwrights panel, doing lots of talking. It's been a really like activity-filled weekend. So your play reading is coming up.
It is.
And how have you been spending the weekend so far working on the script?
I did a lot of work earlier in the week. I think the last batch of new pages, I wrote a new ending, which they're very excited to get. Hey, everyone, new ending. So I think that was on Friday that I gave a new batch of pages. So I haven't done a ton of work since then. Since then, it's been like a little tweaking. But I think it's in a really good place. I'm feeling good. I may or may not have texted some actors with some cuts this morning to make sure that they got them. But now I've put it down. I'm ready to just watch it and enjoy. I'm very excited.
Good. That's an important moment, I think. Yeah.
Laptop.
Yeah. Very well done. Well done.
Thank you.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about your story, the story that you have here today, Decolonizing Your Mind with Walter Mercado. Tell us a little bit about the story, how you came about finding these characters, and like what it means to you in your spirit.
Thank you. I think it's easy to describe in sort of a broad way. It's a queer Puerto Rican retelling of the classic Christmas Carol narrative.
Thank you.
So, yeah. You're welcome. So it kind of took that. It used to be something very different, and then I was sort of looking for a container to hold this story about this non-binary white passing Puerto Rican sort of coming into their identity. And somehow I thought of Christmas Carol and I thought of the play that I already had. And I was like, I think these two are going to live together. So it's sort of Christmas Carol ended up being the container that best fit the story I wanted to tell. And so instead of the ghosts, I've got 3 ancestors of Puerto Rican history. Not all of whom are dead, but so we have Walter Mercado, who is a Puerto Rican astrologer, famous. If you grew up in any sort of like Latin household, Walter was often found on the TV at like 6. He was this flamboyant. He never identified as queer, but it was sort of this unspoken that he was sort of this like genderless queer astrologer, but he was also so important to so many families. So there's this sort of real wonderful thing, which is why it had to be Walter, of he's an icon, or he was an icon, he passed away. He was an icon to all these families, a lot of whom probably would have considered themselves like traditional family values, like families, and yet every night they were captivated by this, what now we can like pretty easily say was this sort of like queer, potentially trans, like astrologer, and he was their icon. So I feel like there was this sort of he was this sort of gateway for a lot of people who had to watch him growing up, which I did. So he is sort of the guide through this journey for our main character Z, and then we have a couple other ancestors who I'll let be a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to read the scripts.
Yeah.
We know about Walter Mercado, but you got to read the script.
Kind of delightful surprises, and it's very New York. It's very queer. It's very Puerto Rican. It's I'm excited to see what St. Petersburg thinks.
And who are they guiding along the journey?
They're guiding a bartender named Z in their mid to late 20s who's sort of coming into leaving a sort of toxic friendship and like coming back around to an understanding of their own gender, something that they knew about themselves when they were a child, but have sort of gotten further and further away from. And so these ancestors are basically there to kind of guide them back to something they already know, and help them sort of embrace that so that they can step out of the rut they're in and sort of step into their lives. And yeah.
What is one of your favorite moments with the characters of these plays, and or like a favorite moment that you've had so far, like during this weekend?
I can answer both of those. I mean, my favorite moments have been hanging out with the playwrights. Like, we're real. Like, it feels like we bonded really fast. So it's been fun to kind of get to end our days together and just kind of hear about each other's lives and what we're working on and what our different paths have been, and that's been really fun. The play has what I call the telenovela scene, and it's sort of the scene at which all the characters who we've seen in fairly realistic, slightly like magical realism situations all find themselves in a telenovela, and sort of there's this very dramatic scene, and it's like a scene that gave me permission to kind of be really melodramatic in a way that I think reads in a really fun way. The actors are having a great time with it, so I think it's like a highlight for sure of the show. Yeah.
I want to see it. Yeah. I want to see it.
Tomorrow
Yeah.
at noon.
And in terms of like this weekend, why do you feel spaces like this are important to sort of help uplift those stories and maybe you can give a shout out to like some other spaces or people who have done something like that for you?
Yeah, I can say, I mean, I came from I just graduated from like a predominantly white grad school, and so this is like the opposite of that. All of the writers here are of color. All these stories are stories that need to be told, and so I got here and I read all the synopses and I was like, this is an amazing like weekend that's been put together. So I think, I mean, this might sound really simple, but just the fact that I didn't have to find 6 Puerto Rican actors to put into a room to be my cast. Like, I got here and they had done that for me. I was like, in a school like I went to, I would be like going to every center I could find, like just putting up to try to find people. And so just having the pressure off of me and knowing that I'm supported in that way has been really wonderful. So like those resources have been amazing, knowing that everyone's just worried about my, like focused on me getting what I need. And that's really special that I can make cuts the morning of the reading because that's how I need to hear the play or whatever. So it's very special. I don't know if I've been to a festival that has as many playwrights as they do here, and as many diverse stories as they have here. So I actually think what they're doing is really special. So yeah, I mean, I think this is my first experience with something like this, where like whiteness is very not centered in any of the plays. I haven't seen them all, but I feel like that's a fair bet.
Awesome. Yeah. Very good. So Jayne, what is next with the script? Where can we learn more about it, or like learn more about you and your writing? What's the journey from here?
Great question, Jordan. Let's figure it out. I mean, I just graduated from grad school with my MFA, so applying to all the stuff, seeing kind of like what ends up happening. And Walter has been sent around. I think the name might change, but you know, hopefully there's a much bigger life for Walter. Great Christmas show if anyone needs a not why I did it at all, but so it's sort of I'm very much in that post grad school kind of like there could be a lot of stuff that's next, and I at this point have no idea. Having this was really great, so I'm sort of in a like I could move next year. I could so I'm in a lovely liminal space. Yeah, and you can find out, I mean, if you Google Jayne Neely, my new play exchange will come up. You can read my plays. I will have a website when I finally finish working on it. Maybe by the time anyone sees this. Probably not.
That's the thing is we have to learn how to do all of these millions of things. Like, oh, okay, now I'm also a website designer.
Like,
I just wanted to write
easy.
plays.
And I'm like, Squarespace is not easy.
Yeah.
It's been up on my tab for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, if you need a Christmas show, if you are a theater who wants to program a Christmas show, or you just want to read this play or learn more about Jayne Neely, you can look them up on the Googles or the New Play Exchange and check out their work. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.